Trust God in all things. Nothing happens by chance. Nothing happens by mistake. Nothing is without a purpose in the life of someone who trusts God. We may not always be able to see that purpose, but we can trust that it's there. And when we look back on our lives later on, we will see how all of the pieces fit together. When bad things happen to us or people we love, we often ask questions. Why would this happen? Why did this person have to die? Why did I get sick? Why did my marriage fail? Why did I lose my job? And even though we may never get all of the answers we're looking for, we can still know this, that nothing happened by chance or by mistake. Everything has a purpose. In fact, the Bible tells us that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to His purpose. So if we trust Him with all of our hearts, we can be confident that everything that happens in our lives is a part of that plan. I want to share 3 truths with you today that will help you to see how everything, and I mean everything, works together for your good. Truth no. 1. All things happen for a reason. When Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers, he was no doubt angry and hurt. But God was in control of what happened next. He allowed Joseph to be thrown into prison for something he didn't do, so that he could be in the right place at the right time to save an entire nation from starvation. In Joseph's case, and in all things, there is a reason. There is a why. Even when we don't know what that reason is, we can trust that there is one. James wrote these words that I love. Consider it a great joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance. Let endurance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. Notice the word trials here. Life isn't just made up of happy moments. There are difficult times and painful seasons. But rather than seeing these things as random and meaningless, we can choose to believe that they are there for a reason. We may not always know what that reason is, but we can rest in the fact that there is one. Truth no, to everything happens for a purpose. Not only does everything happen for a reason, but it also happens for a purpose. It's important to remember that we serve a God who is in control, who is all-knowing, and who is completely good. He doesn't make mistakes, and He doesn't waste anything. So when we go through hard times, we can be confident that God is working in those situations for our good. The Bible says in Romans 8:28, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Now, sometimes it can be hard to see how a particular situation is working together for our good, but we have to trust that God is working in that situation. We have to believe that He has a purpose for it. Sometimes the purpose is to grow our faith. Other times it may be to teach us a lesson or to prepare us for something else that God has planned for us. In the book of 1 Peter, the author wrote these words, "Therefore, prepare your minds for suffering, resist the devil, and he will flee. Resist him, therefore, by believing in God, resisting the devil, and fleeing from sin. You, therefore, who have suffered God's opposition, resist him. Steadfast in your faith, knowing that the same kind of fiery trial has occurred in the lives of your brothers scattered throughout the world. May the God who is the source of all comfort, comfort you. Comfort you in your various troubles, so that you can be able to comfort those who are in any kind of trouble. In the same way, having hope, you yourselves should therefore be full of hope, ready to give help to the people of Israel." Ready to give help? Notice the word suffering here. This passage doesn't just say that we can expect hard times. It says we will suffer. Being a Christian isn't always easy, and there will be times when we face opposition. But rather than letting those circumstances defeat us, we can choose to trust God in the midst of our suffering. We can remember that He has a purpose for allowing us to go through that trial. God has a purpose for everything that we go through. Truth? No. 3. All things happen for eternity. If we keep our eyes focused on our present circumstances, we can easily become discouraged or overwhelmed. But if we fix our gaze on the eternal, if we remember that we are only here for a short time, and that our time on earth is limited, then we can begin to see our current circumstances in a different light. When we think about eternity, we can realize that the things we are going through right now are just a small blip on the radar. They're a momentary trial in comparison to the endless joy and peace that awaits us in heaven. In the book of 2 Corinthians, the author wrote these words, "Therefore, we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what can be seen, but on what cannot be seen. For what can be seen is temporary, but what cannot be seen is eternal. What an incredible truth that is. Our current troubles, whatever they are only temporary. They're not forever. But what lies ahead is eternal. We can choose to focus on the fact that we'll only be in this situation for a little while longer, and that soon we will be in the presence of God. And when we think about eternity, we can also remember that the things we do now will have an eternal impact. Our choices, our words, our actions, they matter. And we have the opportunity to live in such a way that others will see Jesus through us. So in summary, let's remind ourselves of these three truths. Truth, no. 1. All things happen for a reason. Nothing happens by chance or by mistake. Everything has a purpose. Truth, no. 2. Everything happens for a purpose. Not only does everything happen for a reason, but it also happens for a purpose. It's important to remember that we serve a God who is in control and who is completely good. So when we go through hard times, we can be confident that God is working in those situations for our good. Truth, no. 3. All things happen for eternity. If we keep our eyes focused on our present circumstances, we can easily become discouraged or overwhelmed. But if we fix our gaze on the eternal, then we can begin to see our current circumstances in a different light. So the next time you're going through a difficult time, I want you to remember these three truths. Trust God in all things. Nothing happened by chance. Everything has a purpose. Do you see that? Every single thing that you've ever gone through, every single thing that you're currently going through, every single thing that you will go through in the future, everything has a reason, everything has a purpose, and everything has an eternal impact. I want to leave you with this final verse. David wrote these words in the book of Psalms. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that will stand. Commit to the Lord, therefore, your way, and trust in Him, and He will help you. He will uphold you. You will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the flowing water, whose branches also shall not wither, and whose leaves also shall not fade. Whatever you do shall prosper. Psalm 1, verses 3-4. May those words encourage you to trust God in all things. I hope you enjoyed this message. Thank you for watching, and until next time, God bless you.